If you bring home $4,000 a month, a normal life in 2026 is already out of reach. Not a lavish life, not a vacation every year life. A roof, a car, groceries, occasionally saving something. That life. And the math barely works. Here's what's strange about that. Nobody's living recklessly. Nobody's making wild decisions. Most people are doing exactly what they were told to do. Work full-time, spend carefully, try to save. And yet the numbers don't land. So the question isn't what people are doing wrong. The question is what the actual cost of a normal life has become, and why that number keeps moving faster than the paychecks designed to cover it. Let me show you. Here's the part nobody says out loud. The problem isn't your habits. The problem is the baseline. In the 1970s, a single median income in most developed countries, the US, UK, Canada, Australia, could, in many cases, cover most basic needs, housing, a car, groceries, and essentials, and still leave some room at the end of the month. One income, one earner, a family. That's not nostalgia. That's documented economic history. Fast forward to today, in most of those same countries, two full-time incomes often barely cover what one used to. Not because people changed, because the costs did. Here's how to think about it. Your monthly income isn't fully yours the moment it arrives. It gets divided automatically before you make a single real decision. There's housing. In most major cities right now, rent or a mortgage alone often absorbs around 30%, and in higher-cost cities significantly more, of a median take-home salary. Then transportation, insurance, utilities, phone, internet. If you carry any debt, a student loan, a car payment, a credit card balance, those come next. Add groceries and basic health care, and you've already accounted for most of a standard monthly paycheck. What's left after all of that is what economists call discretionary income, the money you actually get to choose what to do with. For a lot of median earners right now, that number is surprisingly small. Here's what makes this so hard to see clearly. It doesn't arrive as a single bill. It creeps. Rent goes up a little. Insurance renews slightly higher. Subscriptions quietly pile up. Streaming, delivery, software, memberships, each one a few dollars, all of them together, a meaningful monthly leak. The grocery basket costs more this month than last. Each individual change feels manageable, but the direction is always the same, up. And because it's gradual, most people don't compare their fixed costs today to their fixed costs 3 years ago. They compare this month to last month. Last month felt normal, so this month feels normal too. That's not a personal failure. That's a well-documented psychological pattern called hedonic adaptation, the human tendency to adjust to a new baseline so quickly that you stop noticing the shift. The treadmill keeps moving. You keep running, and it's easy to miss that you haven't moved. Let's put actual numbers on this. Think about someone earning a median household income in a mid-sized city. After tax, they might take home somewhere in the range of $3,500 to $4,500 a month, depending on location and taxes. Now, let's build a basic, comfortable life. Not extravagant, just stable. A modest one-bedroom apartment or mortgage share, $1,400 to $1,800. Car payment, insurance, and fuel, $600 to $900. Groceries for one adult, $400 to $600. Utilities, phone, and internet, $300 to $400. Health insurance or basic out-of-pocket costs, $200 to $400. Add it up, you're already at $2,900 to $4,100. No restaurants, no emergency fund, no retirement contribution, not a single subscription. On a $4,000 take-home, almost nothing left. On a $3,500 take-home, the math doesn't work at all. That's not tight. That's impossible. And here's where it breaks. Not long ago, this same lifestyle, same categories, same basic ambitions, typically took up a much smaller share of a median income than it does today. Today, it consumes nearly all of it. Same ambition, same lifestyle, significantly less room. That's not inflation in the abstract. That's what inflation actually feels like from the inside. So why has the gap grown? It's not one thing, it's several forces compounding at the same time. Start with housing. In many major economies, home prices have increased significantly relative to incomes over the past few decades, meaning the same house, measured against the same average wage, costs substantially more today than it did a generation ago. That's the concrete version of what people feel when a mortgage their parents managed on one salary now requires two incomes and still feels tight. Healthcare and childcare have followed similar patterns in many countries. And underneath all of it, there's a measurement problem. The official inflation number tracks a broad basket of goods. It doesn't always reflect what people spend the most on. So wages can grow slightly, the headline number can look manageable, and yet the specific costs that define a stable life, housing, healthcare, childcare, can be rising much faster underneath it. This is the moment it stops working. Not when people overspend, when the fixed costs eat the paycheck before the choices begin. When people feel financially stuck despite doing everything right, working full-time, avoiding obvious overspending, following the standard advice, the instinct is to look inward, to find the personal mistake. Sometimes there is one, but often what they're actually experiencing is the gap between a salary built for an older cost structure and a life that now costs significantly more to maintain. The discomfort isn't just psychological, it has a number, and that number has been quietly rising faster than the paychecks designed to cover it. Understanding the gap doesn't close it overnight, but it changes something important. It tells you what you're actually dealing with. Not a discipline problem, not a personal failure, a structural gap between what a comfortable life costs and what most salaries are built to cover. And the gap isn't shrinking, it's been widening for decades, and nothing in the current structure is designed to reverse it quickly. So if something has felt off about your financial life despite doing the right things, you probably weren't imagining it. And if this one made something click, drop it in the comments. You're probably not the only one carrying this quietly. The gap isn't in your habits, it's in the math. And that math is getting bigger every year.